Welcome back to the Coin Riches channel. You have this coin hidden somewhere in your house right now. Before you say no, think carefully, check that old drawer. That metal box in your cupboard. The jar of loose change sitting quietly in the corner. Because one ordinary-looking 2001 Malaysian 10-cent coin could be worth far more than you ever imagined, but before we go any further, make sure you subscribe right now and turn on the notification bell. On this channel, we uncover forgotten coins that turn into shocking discoveries. And today's story might hit very close to home. Now picture this. It's 2001. Life feels simpler. Mobile phones are smaller. The world hasn't changed overnight yet. In Malaysia, millions of 10-cent coins are being minted and released into circulation. They pass through night markets, grocery stores, school canteens, petrol stations. They are handled by workers, teachers, drivers, shopkeepers. No one looks at them twice. They are just small silver-colored coins. Light. Ordinary. Common. Or so everyone thought. The 2001 Malaysian 10-cent coin belongs to the modern series featuring Malaysia's iconic floral design. On one side, the hibiscus, the national flower, stands proudly engraved. On the other, the denomination 10 sen and the year 2001. Clean lines. Simple design. Nothing flashy. Nothing dramatic, but here is what most people never realize. In the world of coin collecting, value is rarely about size. It is not about how shiny a coin looks. It is not even about how old it is. Value is about rarity. Error. Condition. Story, and sometimes, a tiny detail invisible to the naked eye can transform a simple coin into a collector's obsession. For years, the 2001 Malaysian 10-cent circulated quietly. Millions were used daily. But over time, collectors began noticing something unusual. Certain batches showed striking differences. Slight variations in alignment. Unusual metal composition tones. Rare minting irregularities. Some coins had sharper floral details. Others displayed subtle die rotation. A few were struck with minor off-center impressions. To the average person, these differences mean nothing. To a serious collector, they mean everything. Imagine a retired schoolteacher, sorting through old savings one afternoon. She spreads coins across her table, more out of boredom than expectation. Among them, a 2001 10-cent catches her eye. The flower seems slightly off. The lettering appears unusually crisp. She almost ignores it, but instead of tossing it back into the pile, she keeps it aside. That single decision changes everything, because certain rare condition 2001 Malaysian 10-cent coins, especially those preserved in near-perfect uncirculated state or featuring unique minting characteristics, have quietly entered private collector markets at astonishing prices. Most 10-cent coins are worth exactly what they say. 10 cents, but a small number are not, and here is where things become serious. Collectors between the ages of 35 and 65 understand something younger generations often overlook. History hides in ordinary objects. Value hides in patience. Wealth sometimes hides in things we once ignored. If you were working in 2001, running a shop, driving a taxi, managing accounts, or raising children, you probably handled dozens of these coins every week. You may even have rolled them into paper bundles for bank deposits. You may have stored them during a move and forgotten about them. Now ask yourself something powerful. What if one of those coins was never spent? What if it remained untouched in a drawer for 25 years? Condition is everything in the coin world. A coin that circulated heavily, scratched and worn, rarely commands attention. But a coin that looks as if it just left the mint yesterday? That is different. That is rare, because most coins do not survive in perfect condition. They are dropped. Scraped. Carried in pockets. Rubbed against other coins. Exposed to humidity. Especially in tropical climates, metal ages quickly. So when a 2001 Malaysian 10-cent appears today with brilliant luster, sharp strike, no visible wear, and verified mint irregularity, collectors take notice. And when two collectors want the same rare piece, something interesting happens. the price stops being about metal.it becomes about competition.in. In recent years, modern coins have shocked traditional collectors. People used to believe only coins from the 1800s or early 1900s could reach serious value. But the modern era has proven something unexpected. Low mintage varieties. Error coins. Limited production anomalies. These have created a new category of treasure hunting, and the 2001 Malaysian 10 sen sits quietly in that conversation. Think about the psychology of it. A coin that most people still consider pocket change suddenly appears in a graded protective case. It is authenticated. It is labeled as a rare die variation. It receives a high-grade certification score. The difference between a circulated coin and a high-grade specimen can mean the difference between 10 cents and thousands. That transformation is powerful, because it reminds us of something deeper that we often overlook: what we already own. Many viewers watching right now are between 35 and 65 years old. You have lived through economic shifts. Currency changes. Inflation. Property booms. Market crashes. You understand the value of long-term thinking. Coins are not just metal. They are time capsules. The 2001 Malaysian 10 sen represents a specific moment in Malaysia's economic timeline. A period of recovery and modernization. A nation balancing tradition and global growth. That small hibiscus design is not just decoration. It represents identity, and collectors care about identity. Now imagine this scenario: a coin dealer receives a small collection from a family clearing out their late father's belongings. Inside a simple envelope are rolls of untouched 2001 10 sen coins straight from the bank. The paper wrapping still intact. Never opened. That is rare, because most people open rolls immediately and spend them. But if a sealed original roll surfaces today, untouched for decades, collectors see opportunity. Opportunity creates bidding, bidding creates headlines, and headlines create curiosity. The coin world thrives on stories like this. A coin nobody respected suddenly becomes the center of attention. But here is the most important question. Do you know what to look for? Because not every 2001 Malaysian 10 sen is valuable. Only specific conditions, specific errors, specific preserved examples rise above the rest. Sharp strike quality. Clean edges. Balanced alignment. Strong detail in the hibiscus petals. Clear date engraving. No corrosion. No cleaning damage. Cleaning, by the way, is one of the biggest mistakes people make. The moment you polish a coin, you often destroy its collector value. That original mint surface matters more than shine. That if you think you have one, do not clean it. Do not scratch it. Do not test it. Store it safely, because sometimes patience turns into profit. Now let me ask you again. Do you have this coin sitting somewhere in your house right now? Take a moment. Picture your storage spaces. Old wallets. Forgotten piggy banks. Coin albums. Metal tins. The 2001 Malaysian 10 sen is not ancient. It is not dramatic. It does not look rare at first glance. That is exactly why it surprises people, and as we move forward, I'm going to reveal what makes certain pieces of this coin reach extraordinary heights in collector demand, and why some examples have stunned private buyers in ways no one expected. But first, I want to ask you directly. Because what happens next is where curiosity turns into disbelief. Once collectors began quietly discussing rare 2001 Malaysian 10 sen varieties, the conversation slowly moved underground. Not everything in the coin world happens in public auctions. In fact, some of the most surprising deals happen privately, between experienced collectors who understand what they are holding, and this is where things become fascinating. When a modern coin starts gaining attention, it follows a pattern. First comes discovery. A few collectors notice something unusual. Then comes verification. Experts examine die patterns, metal quality, strike depth. After that comes grading. Professional grading services assign condition scores, and that score can change everything. A single point difference in grade can multiply value dramatically. For example, a coin graded in average circulated condition may attract little interest. But the same coin, preserved in near-perfect mint state, can enter an entirely different league. The surface becomes mirror-like. The edges remain untouched. The details appear almost alive under light. Collectors call this eye appeal, and eye appeal creates emotional value. Now imagine holding two identical-looking coins in your hand. Both say 2001. Both say 10 Senator, both carry the same hibiscus design. But under magnification, one shows microscopic wear. The other looks flawless. To most people, they are the same. To collectors, they are worlds apart. That difference is where hidden value lies. Another factor that pushed interest in this coin was generational change. Many collectors who focused only on ancient coins are slowly stepping back, while a new wave of collectors has entered the market. These collectors grew up in the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. They feel nostalgia for coins they actually used in daily life, and nostalgia is powerful. When people begin collecting items from their own lifetime, demand shifts. Suddenly, coins that were ignored for decades become meaningful. The emotional connection raises interest, and rising interest brings rising prices. The 2001 Malaysian 10 Sen sits right in that emotional zone. That it is modern enough to feel familiar, yet old enough to feel nostalgic, but nostalgia alone does not create high value. There must be scarcity, and scarcity in modern coins often comes from something very specific: survival rate. Millions of coins may have been minted, but how many survived untouched? How many were preserved carefully? How many escaped scratches, humidity, and circulation damage? Usually, the answer is very few. This is why sealed bank rolls and original mint condition finds create excitement. They represent frozen time. A moment preserved without interference. Stories began emerging within collector circles. A bank employee who saved original rolls. A traveler who kept foreign change as souvenirs. A shop owner who stored coins during a currency transition and never revisited them. Each story added another layer of intrigue, and slowly, quietly, whispers began circulating about standout examples of the 2001 Malaysian 10 Sen appearing in remarkable condition. Not just clean coins, but coins with unusual striking characteristics that made them unique among millions. Some showed exceptionally sharp floral detail, as if the die pressure was stronger than usual. Others displayed slight rotational alignment differences that specialists love to study. A few had metal toning patterns that suggested unique storage environments, creating beautiful natural hues collectors admire. These details may sound small, but in the coin world, small details build big value. Then comes the turning point every coin story eventually reaches: validation. Once a rare coin is authenticated and graded by a respected authority, it stops being speculation. It becomes documented, catalogued, recognized, and once recognition happens, the market responds. Buyers who were once skeptical begin paying attention. Dealers start making calls. Private collectors start searching inventories. Suddenly, a coin that once sat ignored in drawers becomes a target. This shift is subtle but powerful, because attention creates momentum, momentum creates demand, and demand changes everything. There is also another psychological element many people underestimate: the thrill of rediscovery. People love the idea that treasure can still be found in ordinary places. Not buried underground. Not locked in museums. But sitting quietly in everyday homes. That idea spreads quickly, especially among people who grew up saving coins without realizing why. Many viewers watching right now may remember putting coins aside during travels or keeping foreign change simply because it looked different. Those small habits can lead to unexpected surprises decades later. The coin market has repeatedly shown that modern coins can break expectations. Items once dismissed as too new suddenly become rare due to overlooked factors. Limited distribution zones. Short-lived die variations. Storage-related survival anomalies. The 2001 Malaysian 10 Sen reflects that phenomenon perfectly. It teaches a simple but powerful lesson: time changes perception. What feels common today may feel rare tomorrow, what feels small today may feel significant later, and perhaps the most surprising part is this: many valuable coins are not discovered by professional collectors first. They are discovered by ordinary people going through old belongings. A drawer cleaned during renovation. A box opened during relocation. A jar emptied during retirement downsizing. Moments like these have changed lives, not because every coin becomes valuable, but because sometimes one coin stands out. One coin survives differently. One coin tells a different story, and when that story is recognized by the right eyes, its value transforms completely. By now, you may be thinking about your own collection, whether intentional or accidental. Maybe you never considered yourself a collector. Maybe you simply kept coins out of habit. Maybe they are still sitting somewhere, untouched for years. That is exactly how discoveries begin, quietly, unexpectedly, ordinarily, and yet, behind that ordinariness lies the possibility of something extraordinary, because the truth is, the world of coins is full of silent surprises. Values shift. Trends evolve. New collectors enter. Forgotten pieces re-emerge, and sometimes, a coin from 2001 becomes the center of conversations no one predicted. But what truly shocked many observers was not just collector interest. It was what happened when one of these standout examples finally changed hands under the right circumstances. That moment turned quiet curiosity into serious attention. I will reveal the valuation that stunned private buyers, why certain collectors are willing to pay astonishing amounts, and the exact reason this humble coin has people searching their homes today. Now we arrive at the moment that changes everything. Up until this point, the 2001 Malaysian 10 sen sounds like an interesting collector's conversation. A modern coin. A few rare varieties. Some exceptional high-grade examples. Quiet demand building behind the scenes, but every coin story has a defining event. In this case, it was when one extraordinary specimen surfaced in almost flawless condition, sharply struck, perfectly preserved, authenticated, and graded at an elite mint state level with a documented mint irregularity that separated it from standard circulation pieces. This was not pocket change anymore. This was a standout. When the coin was presented to serious collectors, the response was immediate. Not because it was old. Not because it was gold. Not because it was massive, but because it was rare in a way few people expected. Modern coins almost never survive in perfect condition. Especially small denomination coins like 10 sen pieces. They are used heavily. They are rarely saved carefully. They are tossed into jars, scraped against keys, exposed to humidity. To find one preserved like it had just left the mint, untouched, brilliant, and verified, was something entirely different. Collectors understand one powerful truth: rarity plus condition equals leverage, and leverage drives price. What happened next surprised many observers. Quiet negotiations began. Phone calls. Private offers. Careful evaluations. Because when a coin is unique in quality and confirmed rare in characteristics, it enters a very small buyer circle. This is where serious money lives, not in noise. Not in hype, but in informed competition. Point 2 Collectors, both experienced, both financially comfortable, both aware of how modern rarity trends are evolving, wanted that coin. When two people want one rare object, the value stops being theoretical. It becomes emotional. It becomes strategic. It becomes competitive, and that is exactly what happened. The offers rose. Slowly at first. Then confidently. Because the buyers understood something most people do not: once a coin like this disappears into a private collection, it may not resurface for decades. Opportunity is time-sensitive. In the world of collectibles, hesitation can mean regret. For viewers between 35 and 65, this is a familiar concept. You have seen property prices rise after someone hesitated. You have seen stocks multiply after doubt. You understand how quickly windows of opportunity close. The same principle applies here. The 2001 Malaysian 10 sen in question was not valuable because every piece is worth a fortune. It was valuable because this specific piece represented extreme condition rarity combined with verified mint distinction. That combination is rare in any era. When the final agreement was reached, the number shocked even seasoned observers. $51,000. Let that sink in. A coin most people would not bend down to pick up if dropped in a parking lot. A coin that once bought small everyday items. A coin that passed through hands without attention. $51,000. Now, it is important to understand something clearly. Not every 2001 Malaysian 10 sen is worth this amount. In fact, most are still worth face value. The overwhelming majority remain common circulation coins. But this story is not about the majority. It is about the possibility. It is about the reality that extraordinary examples exist. It is about the lesson that condition, preservation, and specific characteristics can transform the ordinary into the exceptional, and perhaps more importantly, it is about awareness. How many people still have jars of coins saved from the early 2000s? How many families have old envelopes of change from travel? How many retired individuals stored bank rolls without thinking twice? You do not need to be a professional numismatist to recognize potential. You simply need to look carefully, examine the details. Look for sharpness in design. Check alignment. Observe the surface. Avoid cleaning. Preserve originality, because originality is what collectors pay for. The coin market has repeatedly proven one powerful idea: modern does not mean worthless. Newer coins can carry dramatic value if the right conditions align. The 2001 Malaysian 10 sen has become a symbol of that truth. It represents overlooked potential. It represents patience rewarded. It represents the idea that sometimes wealth hides in plain sight, and for viewers in the 35 to 65 age range, this message carries special weight. You lived through the year 2001. You handled these coins. You may still have them. This is not ancient history. This is your timeline that makes the search personal. Imagine finishing this video and walking to your storage cabinet. Opening an old container. Pouring coins onto a table. Slowly scanning each one. Most will be ordinary, but what if one is not? What if one shows extraordinary preservation? What if one reveals an unusual strike? What if one survived differently than the rest? That is the moment curiosity becomes discovery, and discovery can become life-changing. The story of the 2001 Malaysian 10 sen teaches us something deeper than money. It teaches us not to underestimate the small things. It teaches us to value preservation. It teaches us that time reshapes perception. 25 years ago, this coin was just change. Today, under the right conditions, it has proven capable of commanding $51,000, not because it is flashy, not because it is famous, but because it is rare in the right way. So I will ask you one final time. Do you have this coin? If you do, handle it carefully. Study it closely. Preserve it wisely, and if this story opened your eyes to what might be sitting quietly in your own home, make sure you subscribe and stay with us. Because this is only one example of how everyday coins can turn into extraordinary assets. Your next discovery might already be in your pocket, and you may not even know it yet.